Hello, this is Dr. Stanley Lang, and welcome to this video. This is a continuation in the series on whole person health videos that I have been making. And as you know, if you've watched any of them, I focus either on spiritual health, emotional health, or physical health, because a whole person approach, I think, is the best approach to regaining health or staying healthy. So the focus today is on spiritual health, and as you may have also heard, what I'm attempting to do with the spiritual health uh, approach is to share basically part of my journey, and to let you see, at least from my perspective, what one approach to spiritual health, attempting to achieve spiritual health, might look like. So sharing elements of what happens during my prayer time in the morning. And so today I was reflecting on some of the scriptures that I had read, and came away with the following kind of idea. And the first scripture was from one of the wisdom books, and it talked about the blessings of having a spouse that was basically a joyful, happy person, and how that extended the life of the other spouse. And it's a remarkable scripture because it's so ancient compared to today. It's probably at least 600 years before Christ, and the understanding of the kind of people you live with and how that affects your health was was apparent a long time ago. And so living in toxic relationships is dangerous to your health. Living with people who who bring joy to the moment, bring love to the moment, is good for your health. On the other side of the spectrum, I was reading from a book called Revelation, and it was on one of the subjects where the good news is not being focused on. The bad news is kind of the message here, and the bad news is basically what's going to happen to folks that are not following in the path of Jesus. And then it's sort of sandwiched in between those two scriptures were Jesus' comments about the poison that following the Pharisees and the Sadducees would be to the apostles. And he said, beware of their yeast. And he clarifies and says that what they think, what they teach, is their yeast. And the thing about the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and what made me think about this, is in many ways they were opposite to each other, especially their belief in life after death, or what life after death looked like if it existed. And being completely opposite, how could they be equal in their bad yeast, their poisonous effect? And one of the thoughts that came to mind was that they both were hardened in what they believed. They knew that what they thought was true, and they had no doubt. And so they kind of marched through life without any openness to anybody else's ideas. Especially, they were not open to Jesus' ideas about what was true. And it was this pride, this arrogance about what they thought was true, that was the yeast that Jesus was warning against. And to beware of that breaking into or affecting my life and closing me off to what Jesus might be saying to me in this very moment. And it's remarkable that whole groups of people were totally blind to who Jesus was, when he's actually the Son of the Father, the creator of the universe, and yet totally blind to it. Others could see it without any problem, and some were totally blind to it. And I believe that the defining characteristic is pride. And when we are so sure that we are right and know everybody else is wrong, and I'm not open to how Jesus might see the moment, then I'm in a pretty bad position. I'm more like that second group of folks that I talked about from Revelation than the first group that are living life in a really healthy way, and they're having a positive effect on each other. They're bringing love, they're bringing joy to each other, and they're not bringing proudful self-focus to each other. And so the poison that the Pharisees and the Sadducees brought to people was this being totally closed, and this prideful way of thinking. If you absorbed it or got it from them, you were infected with it. And Jesus is warning that we not get infected with this kind of pride, where uh, we're focused on what we think about the moment, and we're closed off to what Jesus thinks about the moment. Because every moment that we are going through the day, we're challenged, we're tempted to judge the moment by its superficial appearance and not let the deeper words of Jesus speak through the moment. So I know that I experienced that today when I was dealing with a patient who, on my first review of the chart, somebody I hadn't seen before, I had already prejudged, even though I didn't want to, I'd already prejudged the situation. And during the conversation that I had with the patient, who was very needy, it became apparent that it became apparent that I had really misjudged this person who was very needy, but I also could see that there was a specific way I could reach out and touch him without being manipulated into something that I didn't want to do. And my judgment had been, I'm going to be manipulated into something I don't want to do in this encounter. And that didn't turn out to be true at all. So if I had not been rescued by the Lord, so to speak, I would have missed the moment of being able to extend a hand of mercy and help this person in a way that I was particularly prepared to do. So that was my own example of prejudging the moment with the arrogance of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, feeling like I knew what was going on, and I didn't, because I had judged superficially. So hope that helps you to look into your own life and to see how God may be speaking to you more deeply in each moment, and to not fall into the sin of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and to let that yeast of pride infiltrate your life. So I wish you well. God bless, and have a great day.